So, I just watched the first 4 episodes of Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, and I have not been this freaking excited to film a video in a really long time. But before we hop into this, hi, my name is Jordan Sparks, and I am a dancer, actor, singer, and creator of the series Performance Coach Reacts and Dance Coach Reacts here on YouTube. Now, I am personally super excited about this series. Growing up as a child, I was a huge dreamer. I wanted to be a giant pop star as well. But at 5 years old, I was kidnapped for 7 years, and I had a very traumatic childhood, so I wasn't able to start dancing or start my training until I was 19 years old. Yet still I overcame some of the odds. I booked my first professional dancing job 4 years later. I've been in hundreds of different movies and TV shows. I've booked a couple lead roles in musical theater shows, and last year I released my first song to iTunes and my first music video, and it was self-created, written, and produced. So I have got my chance to dabble in the performing arts as a triple threat over the last 12 years, and now it is my goal and my mission through this series to help inspire other artists, dancers, singers, and performers that no dream is too big and that anything can be achieved with hard work and determination. But that being said, in today's video, if you haven't watched Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution yet, there may be a ton of spoilers, but all that being said, I did take a bunch of notes and I'm going to be doing a super in-depth commentary on the first 4 episodes, so if you're interested in that, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and stick around and let's hop right into it. So if you haven't watched the show yet and you don't want to hear any spoilers, it's not my fault. You have been warned if you continue to watch past this point. So basically the show is airing on Peacock in the United States. I found it online as well, and it will be airing on YTV here in Canada starting November 18th. Peacock is a free streaming service in the United States, so if you are a resident of the United States, I know you can watch at least the first 3 episodes on there. But the show opens up and they are looking to create basically a girl group, and it's going to be called XOMG Pop. I think there's 11 girls to start off, and their main focus in the beginning is on dancing. Now, if you only watch the first episode, it does feel a little bit slow getting into it. I feel like they could have shortened the first episode to be 22 minutes long, so a 30-minute time slot on TV versus a 55-minute slot, because there was like half an hour focused on just dance rehearsal. The other episodes, it picks up the pace. There's a lot more going on, so it definitely fills up the space of the episode. But in the intro, JoJo mentioned something interesting in that there has not been a giant breakout kids pop group since the Jackson 5. And I thought about it and I was like, that's totally true. There's been like kids pop and stuff like that, but there has not been an iconic breakout kids pop group since the Jackson 5, and that was like 50 years ago, so that's actually pretty crazy. There was also Mickey Mouse Club in between, but again, they weren't a kids pop group, it was a TV show. There was Dance Moms, where they were like a girl group of dancers that became super famous and iconic, but they also, again, were not a pop group. So I thought that that was super interesting and a really good point. I like to hear that JoJo's biggest inspirations, even since she was a kid, are huge legendary musical icons. Like, she loves Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson, Prince, Elton John. Those are her biggest inspirations, so I think that she sets her sights really, really high, and those being her inspirations is a great thing in my opinion. So like I said, they set out to create a girl group. There are no boys on the show, and they don't know exactly how many members they have. Jess said she loves BTS. They have 7 members. She also loved the Spice Girls. They have 5. In my opinion, I would go for 5, and especially after watching these girls perform, 5 or 7 looks better on stage, and it would be a really hard decision to pick 5 of the girls, but I think that 5 would be the best for all around when it comes to having a girl group, when it comes to touring, when it comes to staging numbers, things like that. I think that you can have a really diverse, likable group when you have 5 members. Now, the show kind of reminded me of America's Next Top Model crossed with like Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, except for instead of staying in the Tyra mansion, they basically just go visit the Siwa mansion in the beginning of the show, but they're not staying there, they're staying in hotels. Now, one of the first girls it shows, her name is Sadie, and she loves JoJo Siwa because JoJo had struggled with her speech growing up, and Sadie struggles with her speech as well. She is a baton twirler, and she kind of reminds me more of a contestant for America's Got Talent more than for a kids pop group, but she kind of reminds me of a little Bryn Rumfellow from Dance Moms, which I thought it was kind of ironic because Bryn's little sister's name is Sadie. But she was super cute. She's not the strongest dancer, but she does have some super impressive contortion tricks, in my opinion. It's definitely following the Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition and Dance Moms formula. There is a lot of focus on stage moms and arguing between moms. It definitely has focus on the mothers just as much as there is focus on the kids, just like Dance Moms and stuff like that. There's a lot of talk about you're representing me. Right off the bat from the first episode, we're looking for a natural leader, and they're attending dance competitions, so definitely very synonymous with Dance Moms in that essence. So in this first episode, like I said, it drags on a bit too long. I feel like they spent way too much time focused on just a dance rehearsal that it got a little bit boring because they could have just cut out literally like 30 minutes of footage. Now, one of the first little performers that they introduce, her name is Kinley. She's definitely the smallest little contestant in the group. She's not the youngest, though, but she performs 190% full out all the time, so love her. I think that she has supernatural star quality. Then I loved Layla. I think that she has a fantastic look. She kind of reminds me of a real-life Ariel from The Little Mermaid with long curly red hair. Now, she's 14. She is the oldest contestant on the show, but there's not really anybody in between. I think that there was an 11-year-old, and then there is Leah, so that is a little bit concerning when it comes to making a pop group, because if she is a natural leader, that is great, but otherwise, when it comes down to making the final business decision, you don't really need a 14-year-old if you have a natural leader. And I will get to it in a second, but there's somebody that I think that has really stepped up as a leader. I love all of the costuming so far. Everything is very JoJo. And I'm honestly loving getting to see JoJo's new look and JoJo with like giant curly bouncy hair. I think it looks great on her, and getting to see JoJo behind the scenes directing and choreographing. We get to see a whole other side of JoJo as a businesswoman. And I just wanted to commend JoJo. I think that she did a really great job, both JoJo and Jesselyn, for staging a number with a bunch of kids from all different skill levels. Some of them are better singers than dancers, but they managed to put them all together in one cohesive group and bring them to a real dance competition. Now, they opened up in a massive helicopter. I'm pretty sure that it was the same helicopter that they used in Kendall K's Wear 'Em Out video, and Brian Stinson was the producer of Dance Mom, so maybe he owns it, but I'm pretty sure it is the same helicopter. If you watch the show, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. But I thought that it was a bit much for a dance competition. It looked fantastic on stage, and it was friggin' fabulous, but it was a little over the top for a dance competition, kind of like some of the costuming and staging from Abby's Ultimate and Raising Asia. That being said, overall it was a great performance. There was a lot of walking around and sitting and posing from the girls that weren't necessarily the strongest dancers. I thought that there were some timing issues and some spacing issues, but overall it was a really great, strong performance, and that they really utilized the best dancers in the performance to spotlight them and create a really strong piece. And Sadie had her moment being a baton twirler, but again, it doesn't really fit into a pop group in my opinion. I think that she has some really impressive contortion skills, like I mentioned as well. She does have a full back split and some other contortion skills. Now, Kinley, like I said, she has great performance quality. She has great star quality. She goes 190% all the time. But they did give her a solo because of that. Not a solo dance, but a solo part in the dance, doing an Alice Cone section. I wouldn't necessarily have given her that as a solo section because she has fantastic star quality and kind of is like a little JoJo. So I would have given her something fierce, something jazzy. Her knees were completely bent in the Alice Cones. I wouldn't necessarily choose one featured dancer to do a solo part when their technique still needs work. They were attending Intensity Dance Competition, which is a legitimate competition. They placed 4th in the overalls. We didn't get to see their other competition performing, but I think that that's legitimate. I don't think that Intensity would kind of put their name on the line by forging placements and stuff for a dance show like this if they didn't do that for Dance Moms. And I think 4th is a legitimate place for large groups. There's less contestants in the large group category generally, and they had a fantastic performance, and they brought a freaking helicopter. And again, like I said, I thought that they focused too much on the dance rehearsal footage. They could have condensed it to 22 minutes, especially if it's going to air on a kids network like YTV. Now, the youngest contestant on the show, her name is Layla, and she is 8 years old. Now, there's a contestant, her name is Tatum. She didn't really stand out to me in any way, in a negative way or a positive way. She didn't really draw my eye. From what I've seen, she is talented. She's a good singer, she's a good dancer, but she doesn't really stand out. I was super sad to see Sadie go home just because she was endearing and sweet, but I don't think that she was the best fit for this girls' pop group. Now, on to the second episode. In the second episode, they split the girls kind of by their talents and put the best dancing girls in one group and then put all of the other girls in another dance group, and they got to record their song. So I think that it's really good that they kind of divide the girls by their talents, and then it showcases them and puts their best foot forward on TV, which is really helping when it comes to creating likability for the viewers so that this could actually be a successful group. And it gave some of the other girls a chance to start recording and for us to see their singing. And I feel like it also gives all of the girls a chance to shine in every different area because they're constantly switching things up. So the dancing was wonderful, like really great technique, great competition dance number in general from the Fab Five, which were the 5 top dancer girls that got to do a group number together. Then when it comes to the vocals, I honestly had no idea what to expect, but I was completely blown away. There are some equally talented vocalists in this show as there are dancers, and I think that their coach is really good with working at kids and being able to pull the best out of them. Now, I think Dallas is a really great singer, especially when she's in the booth and she's recording. I think she has great range. She's going to be a great belter. I could picture her being like a Mariah Carey singer when she's older. She has a great range and a really nice bright tone. It's really forward in her mask. And I think that she sings really naturally. Now, there's another girl named Tiny T, and she reminds me a lot of Giannina from Dance Moms, and I feel like she has a lot of edge and a lot of attitude and really the strongest brand on the show. She's more of a hip-hop dancer and doesn't really fit in with the competitive dancers, but I think that it would be a loss to not include her in the final group, honestly, because I think that she has the biggest edge over all of the other girls and really stands out because she has a really strong brand. I think that Leah has a really, really strong look, but Tiny T really has a great brand. She has a good look, a good attitude, and she's really got edge, which I think will be great in a pop group. And her voice, it's really strong and aggressive, and she really stands out as well, and she can rap. Now there's Layla. She is the youngest in the group, and I think that she's an incredible tumbler, but I feel like she needs more time to rehearse things and to learn her parts and to learn her vocal parts, and being only 8 years old, I'm not sure that she's the best fit for this group. But she has amazing tumbling passes and a fantastic straddle leap for an 8-year-old. Now, I am no psychologist, but being somebody that has been diagnosed with ADHD myself, I do see a lot of overstimulated activity in a lot of these children, which is literally no surprise whatsoever, and I feel like being in this environment is not only the best place for somebody with ADHD, but also somewhere where ADHD kids can thrive, because being a pop star, you have to focus on singing, dancing, performance. You are constantly doing something different every single day. You have to change up your look and be focused on all of these different things. And for an ADHD brain, that is going to help stimulate your brain and make it so that you don't get bored. Whereas a lot of people, dance is great for ADHD. It helps you get out your overstimulated energy. It really helps you work on your mind and body connection. But focusing on just dance isn't necessarily the most natural thing for an ADHD brain that needs to be doing different things every day to challenge and stimulate your brain. But I think kids with ADHD could thrive as pop stars. There is a lot of work to do, and kids with ADHD can definitely thrive if they take the time to work on all of these components separately, work on the vocals, work on the dancing, work on your performance, put it all together, and these kids will definitely shine, and they can handle the pressure. Their brains work fast enough that they can be a pop star. Now, as for Brooklyn, she blew me away. I think that she is a phenomenal vocalist. She has a very mature tone and a very mature sense of her artistry. She is super versatile. Not only is she a great dancer, I think she could be a little more hard-hitting with her dancing, but her vocals are super versatile. She can rap, she can have an edge to her voice, she can sing really soulful, she has a lot of range and a definite maturity. She understands the mixing and balancing of her voice, and she can really use her head register as well, and she's only like 10 years old, so great job to Brooklyn. I think that she is phenomenal. She also really understands singing on the vowels, and she understands being able to get off the consonants once she's created diction, so she has really great, clean, clear diction, but also a bright, beautiful, rounded tone because she sings on her vowels. I'm not sure how much vocal training she has, but she definitely sounds like she is a natural or a trained vocalist. And her mother, Cece, I absolutely love her, and she is just gorgeous. And I think it would also be a disadvantage to this group to not include Brooklyn in the final group. Honestly, I am loving the coaching on this show. I think that Jesselyn and JoJo have the right balance of constructive criticism, but also positive reinforcement, and they're able to bring the best out of their kids. It's way different than Dance Moms. There's not a lot of yelling, screaming, and like telling kids that they're not good enough, belittling and gaslighting and emotional abuse. There's none of that on this show, except for maybe the moms. Tiny T's mom said to her in Armenian, "You know I don't want to talk to you right now, and like, I'm not going to talk to you, don't even try to talk to me," kind of thing, after she didn't live up to her expectations as a vocalist. And I really hate watching that with stage moms, withholding love and affection from your child, withholding support. Leave the tough love to the coach. You don't need to gaslight your child. That really messes with their head. Your kid is your top priority. You need to love and support your child. You can leave the tough love and criticism to the coach. Overall, though, from the kids, great tone, great pitch. I thought that Kaya was a well-rounded and well-trained performer in the first few episodes. She doesn't really stand out to me. I think that her confidence was really hurting because she kept being compared to Kinley because they're both blonde dancers from the same studio. But I do think that Kaya has one of the strongest voices on the show. She has fantastic placement, great breath support. By the last 2 episodes, she was really standing out to me. She made a big visual change that if you haven't seen the episodes yet, you will see it in there. But I feel like her confidence really changed, and on stage, she definitely shines, and she is picked first to be in the group. And before this point, I was honestly thinking, like, this girl doesn't stand out to me. She was one of the people that I would have considered sending home, especially in comparison to Kinley. But honestly, I kind of think that they would both be great in the group. Kinley doesn't have the strongest voice, in my opinion, but her stage presence and confidence is way over the top. She would be like the Baby Spice of the group. And I think that Kaya is like the natural leader. And because of that, it's really going to be a tough decision. There's a lot of different things that go into picking a girl group. It's definitely a business decision. But Leah is a fantastic dancer, a great singer. She's not the strongest vocalist in the group. She's not the strongest dancer in the group. But I do think that she has the most striking look in the group. The red hair, she has giant eyes. And I think that she just has a really like Disney kind of look, and she's really likable. She suffers from spina bifida, and I feel like she would be really relatable to have in the group. But being that she is 14, she is a couple years older than the rest of the group, and being that Kaya kind of feels like the natural leader of this group and she's only 11, as a business choice, it's kind of like, do we need Leah if she is not going to be the leader of this group? But right from the beginning of the show, she was like my top choice. Like I said, there's a lot of different factors that go into picking a girl group or picking pop stars in general, casting in anything. And like I said, she's not the most talented singer or dancer in the group, but she's fantastic at both. But I just feel like she has the charm and charisma and the look that she will definitely succeed. So it's really hard not to choose her for the group. But if they do pick Leah, I feel like it would be hard to pick Kinley and have somebody so young in the group, but also having Leah. Leah's kind of like the Brooke Highland of the group. She looks like she's one of the little kids. She fits in with the little kids, but she's actually 14. So in the second week, they went to Starbound, and again, Starbound is another legitimate competition. I think that the placement was legitimate. We don't get to see the other competition numbers at these competitions, but I'm thinking that Starbound and Intensity, being legitimate competitions, would take this time on a TV show to advertise their competition, but they wouldn't take this opportunity on a TV show to sabotage their own business by, like, raking scores. I would like to see some smarter dancing from these girls in the numbers. Again, there were some spacing issues. There was a little bit of a collision. The vocals, though, ended up sounding really great. Like I said, the vocal coach gets the best out of them, and he is a producer as well, and I think that overall he does a great sound for them. Layla, like I said, is a fantastic tumbler, but unfortunately she did her entire tumbling pass behind the prop. So again, I would like to see some smarter dancing on stage, but she did end up getting eliminated. Like I said, she was only 8. She was a few years younger than any of the other contestants, and I do feel like she needed a couple more years to prepare herself. Now, I'm not positive if they were in the song and dance category in their competitions, but there's a lot of lip syncing, and it would make perfect sense. They're trying to create a pop group, so it wouldn't make sense if they weren't lip syncing, or at least working on that. And when you're doing a prop performance, most of those vocals aren't live. That being said, generally there are very few numbers in the song and dance category at competitions, so that is definitely going to up their chances of winning in the overalls if they score really high in that category. So for the Fab Five that were dancing, I would honestly give them a 10 out of 10 for performance quality. It was freaking amazing. There were just some small technical issues, like again, Kinley had a solo part doing Alice Cones, and her knees are completely bent, so we need to work on that turnout and engaging our hamstrings. Keeping in mind, it is really not important that you can do excellent Alice Cone turns in order to be a pop star, but since they are staging her and continuously putting her as a soloist doing these Alice Cones, you need to nail them. Stretch that knee, stretch that ankle, point that foot, Kinley. The Fab Five ended up getting first, and then the Sassy Sevens, who recorded their number, they got third, which I think was also great, considering those were the girls that are not the strongest dancers. They did put strong dancers in there as their ringers, but we did have the girls that are there primarily for their singing as well. Now, I was super sad to see Layla go home. She is definitely an underdog, but I will be rooting for her. So I kind of think that I have my top 5 girls in mind already. I think that Dallas is an amazing performer. She's only 10. I was super impressed by her vocals in the first few episodes. Like I said, I think she could be a little Mariah Carey, but I think that her confidence got the best of her. She might be a little young for this, but then she went on and slayed the performance in the last episode. Her vocals are fantastic in the booth. She has range, she has soul, she has sass, she has attitude. I feel like she has a great look and would be great in the group. I just need to see in the next couple episodes if she has the confidence to do this and to be consistent. When it comes to Kaya's voice, she has a super strong voice. Her placement is fantastic. Her stage presence is fantastic on stage with her dancing. Like, she's a super strong performer. And after she changed her look, I feel like it really boosted her confidence, and now she really sticks out. And I agree with Jesselyn's choice as choosing her as being the first member of XOMG Pop. They did decide in the 3rd episode to send Bella home. She was one of the strongest dancers, but Jess wasn't the biggest fan of her singing, and she said, "Your singing scares me." And I'm like, ouch, you could have chose some gentler words when talking to a kid. So I did enjoy the coaching in the rest of the show, but that one moment I was like, whew, that was harsh, especially when you're about to send a girl home. But in the last episode, there was no elimination, and we are left with Dallas, Kinley, Tiny T, Leah, Brooklyn, Tatum, and Kaya. So that's 7 girls. Now, Kaya was actually chosen to be in the group. We don't know how many girls are going to be in there, so that leaves 6 girls left. But I think that it's going to be a really, really hard choice. I think at this point it's going to be making the decision, do we want a 14-year-old in the group? And if we do we want to pick all of the other older girls to be in the group with them? And just because there's that age gap, because there's nobody in between 14 and 11, I think that's going to be a really tough choice. And then with Kinley, if they don't want her to be like the baby spice of the group, it's going to be a tough choice because she is really small and young and cutesy. Now, when it comes to Dallas, she is fantastic, talented. I feel like she's struggling with her confidence. And Tiny T is honestly one of my first choices, but Jess and JoJo don't seem to be super sure about where she fits, whether she's the strongest vocalist or whether she fits in with the dancers, but I personally think that she needs to be in the final 5. Like, it is, if they're even going to choose 5. I think, to me, no question. I would definitely be choosing Tiny T. I would definitely be choosing Brooklyn. She is the most versatile. She can rap and sing, and she can dance. So, like, we have to choose her. And Jess has already chosen Kaya. To me, Tatum does not stick out at all. She is a great performer. She can sing, she can dance, she's really talented, but I do feel like she's just a little timid for this and that her mom maybe wants it more than her. I would personally cast Tiny T and Brooklyn as a no-brainer to go with Kaya, so for me, it's a choice between Kinley, Leah, Tatum, and Dallas. But I think that their last performances were freaking excellent. I'm blown away by the talent of these kids on this show. I think that they can definitely have a successful band. I am a little bit skeptical and worried that this show could ever have a season 2, because I really do love this show. I am, like, super addicted right off the bat. But it would be a lot to try and balance scouting a new girl band every year while also developing a group of 5 to 7 girls and touring those girls and being the manager of those girls. So I feel like it would be biting off way more than Jess could chew if she were to be choosing to manage a new girl group every single year from the show. It's not like Dance Moms where they're just recasting one girl or bringing on an extra kid into the group. Like, this is casting an entire girls group, so I'm not sure if they would be able to have a second season unless they bring on a different music manager. They could still have Jess and JoJo do the show and pick the girls, but somebody else would have to manage and develop their careers because that would just be too much. But I loved this show. Brian, JoJo, Jess, if you're watching and you want me to come on and do anything for the next season, if you choose to have one, I'll be watching. I can help. But anyways, I think that that is it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a great big thumbs up. If you've been watching Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, let me know down in the comments below. If you are super excited to see who the final girls are going to be, let me know down in the comments below as well. But I think that that is it for this video. So if you want to check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, they are all at Jordan J. Sparks. And if you missed my reaction to the preview to Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, you can watch that over here. And as always, make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!